Hey guys, guess what? I just quit my job and left all my clients. If you're watching this, there's a good chance that you're just about to start your journey to become a professional sports videographer. You're nervous because you're not sure if you're good enough. You're probably a little bit scared too. And most likely, you don't really know where to start. Well, you're in luck because that's what my channel is all about. So let me help you with that.
Are you filming? Are you filming? Yes, I am.
You see, when I started my career in sports videography many years ago in Montreal, Canada,
Kids.com on the beat. Let's find our coach.
I wish someone had told me to stop focusing so much on making sports videos and instead focus on becoming a sports videographer.
Got that one question, now we're heading back.
I know it sounds very similar, but the intent is different, and that's the whole point. The same way that if I tell you I have a friend who likes to run and another friend who's a runner, you're probably going to assume that the first one has a hobby, while the second one is taking it much more seriously. So my point is that from the get-go, you need to see yourself as a sports videographer. You need a bit of that Mamba mentality, if you will. And that means obviously working on your craft, your videos, but also on two more very important things. The first one is networking. I, for one, know that I could have done a much better job at it when I started my career back in the day. I was just a shy, introverted kid who didn't realize at the time how important it is to build yourself a network in this industry. It's important because videographers don't get hired for their skills alone, they get hired because of who they know and who's willing to vouch for them. Because it's very difficult for someone who's not a videographer themselves to know who they should pick between a bunch of videographers with a very similar level of experience. So ultimately, employers and clients tend to go with someone they already have some type of relationship with or someone that's been recommended.
Yo, homie. So, what's your Instagram, you know?
And of course, once you get the job, you quickly need to back that great personality of yours with some actual skills. But your relationships are what's going to get you through that door in the first place. So as early as possible, you should start building relationships with athletes, coaches, athletic directors, and more importantly, with other sports videographers. Because more often than not, the other sports videographers in your area will be the ones giving you your first job opportunities. They'll recommend you for gigs that they can't do themselves because either the budget is too low for them or they're simply too busy. And when it comes to athletes and coaches, something as simple as filming random low-level games in your area and tagging the teams and individual players in all the short-form social media content that you'll produce from those games, that alone is going to grow your network massively. Because if your videos are good, players are going to start sliding in your DMs asking for mixtapes. And if those are good, soon they'll ask for recruiting videos. And if you do that with enough players, first of all, that's a lot of work right there. But if you keep doing it for a while, maybe one of them might actually turn pro, and then who knows where that might take you.
The Oklahoma City Thunder select Josh Giddey from Melbourne, Australia.
The other thing you should start doing really early in your career is study social media. Since most of your sports videography content is probably going to end up online, you need to learn what makes people stop scrolling. What makes them watch a video till the end, and what makes them watch the next one after that. You can learn that in school, but you can also learn it by simply studying social media by yourself. Just watch a ton of sports videos and pay attention to what makes you prefer one over the other. What makes you stop scrolling? What grabs your attention? And what makes you like a video enough to share it in your story, for example? Keep in mind that half the job of creating a great video is understanding exactly who that video is for, so you can offer them something called social currency. Social currency is a term I learned in this book, and in this context, it basically represents videos that people will share with their friends and followers to give themselves value. For example, some people share a lot of funny videos because it's their way to be the funny guy in the room, the one that's always the life of the party. Others share a lot of sad and touching stories because it's their way to appear caring and compassionate to others. So by understanding your audience and the reasons why they watch certain videos more than others, it makes it a lot easier to tell the right story which will ultimately get the right emotion from that audience. And if you do that, your videos will be shared and watched by way more people than you ever imagined. and you, my friend, will have a very successful career in sports videography. Speaking of sports videography careers, mine is about to come to an end. Well, actually, that's not exactly true. It's a bit more complicated than that. Basically, before I moved to Australia 12 years ago, I was very happy with my sports videography career back in Montreal, and I remember thinking at the time that the only thing that could possibly convince me to leave my job with the Montreal Canadiens would have to be something very big and personal. And guess what? That's exactly what happened. I met an Australian girl that I fell in love with, I followed her to Australia, and I've been living here ever since. And the irony is that even though I didn't know anyone or even anything really about the Australian sports industry when I got here, during those 12 years I took my sports videography career to a whole other level that I never thought possible. I produced big budget TV shows about sports, I worked with countless international superstar athletes, I traveled around the world from UFC events to major tennis tournaments, I started a sports videography agency that quickly caught fire and became a successful business that I eventually sold for a profit.
I'm villain at Jacques Villeneuve. French-Canadian legend.
And through all that, I built Beyond the Game, which is by far the thing that I'm the most proud of. But at some point during those 12 years, my relationship ended. So from that point on, there was no real reason for me to stay here forever. Gradually, I started thinking about it more and more, and recently, for multiple reasons, both personal and professional, I finally decided to go back home. I'm not leaving just yet though, I'm leaving in about 3 months, but I thought I'd tell you now because it's obviously going to have a big impact on my channel, pretty much starting now. The only real big change for you guys over the next few months is going to be the consistency of my posting on the channel because, obviously I'll be very busy organizing this move, so it's going to be hard for me to post every week. And even once I get there, it's going to take me a little while to get on my feet. So I strongly recommend, because I will be posting, I just don't know how frequently. So I strongly recommend, if you haven't already, that you subscribe to this channel and that you definitely click on the notification bell so that you do get notified when I post a video in the near future. But that's the little stuff. The big picture stuff is going to be much more interesting because I have a vision for the future of this channel that should go in a direction quite different from what you're used to. The way I see it, this channel is going to be way more interesting to you guys than ever before, or I'm going to crash and burn while trying, and this time next year, this channel might be dead. Because being away from Montreal for 12 years means that I have zero professional relationships waiting for me over there right now. There's no athlete friend of mine wanting videos from me. There's no team trying to hire me. My Canadian network right now is completely dead. But that's okay because I see it as an amazing opportunity for this channel. I'll be able to show you in real time how I get my first clients, how I build my network from the ground up, and hopefully how I become a professional sports videographer, a successful one at it once again. There's no guarantee that I'll be able to do any of this, but I'm willing to try publicly because there's no point in me giving you advice about this stuff all the time and then hide in the shadows when it's finally my turn to use that advice. So basically my channel is going to be a lot less of me telling you what you should do and a lot more of me showing you what I'm doing and how you can do it too. Like I said, there's no guarantees. I could very well crash and burn before your eyes, but if I do succeed and I manage to work with professional athletes, not only in Montreal, but my goal is all around the East Coast, maybe, New York, Toronto, Boston, who knows? I think that journey could be huge, not just for me, but for all of us. One last thing before I go, and not before I go to Montreal, there's still about 3 months for that, but before I go today, earlier in the video, I talked about the power of networking and knowing your audience, but if you want to know more about the best education options to become a professional sports videographer, then check the video on your screen right now. It answers all the questions you may have about the best schools or whether you should even go to school or not. It's all in there. Go check it out. Otherwise, as usual, thank you again for watching. My name is E, and I hope I earned the privilege of your time.